Welcome back to OTB. If you're watching on CST, spread the word with your friends. Thank you so much. Watch on YouTube, hit the like button, et cetera, wherever you're listening throughout the state. I am very pleased to be able to bring you the radio debut here in Louisiana. He's got a great podcast out with Cody Worsham today, which you definitely want to go check out, LSUsports.net. You can find it there. But new LSU head baseball coach Jay Johnson. Coach Johnson, thank you so much for waking up with us here on this Wednesday.
Honored to be on with you guys. Thank you for having me.
Okay, we're just going to dive right into this thing, Coach. I loved your press conference the other day, and I think a few themes started to develop when you were up there speaking. And the one that really stood out to me was development, right? And everybody else, you kept talking about development. Combined with what I've read of your past, I know you're an information gatherer, a grinder, 30-foot whiteboards, all that. My question to you is, when you are putting together a plan for a player, you gather so much information. How do you then pare that down, or how do you transmit that to the player where it's not overwhelming and it becomes actionable, something that he can actually put into practice?
Great question. Let's get right to the guts of this thing off the bat. I love it.
I told you, man.
The first part of it is recruiting. You have to have elite players. Anybody that thinks you can get to Omaha or contend for a national championship without elite players is fooling themselves. So the first part of developing a player is getting the right player. And so that will be our first charge of making sure we have the right players on the field at Alex Box Stadium. Secondly, it doesn't matter what the coach knows, what the plan is. The key is making your player a really good learner. And that's getting to know your player first, building trust in them, getting understanding of how they tick. And players today learn in all different ways. The old school way, if you want to call it, of just standing up and talking in front of them or the team for 30 to 45 to an hour, that doesn't work all the time. So you have to pick your spots and be impactful and be direct in your communication. A lot of kids nowadays learn from video, just how their mind is wired. So showing them what you're trying to get across, whether it's their swing, their pitching delivery, potentially comparing it to somebody that's the best in Major League Baseball or somebody that they look up to, can be powerful. And then the training environment is the key. How do we take their talent, how do we take what we're trying to get across and put it into practice so that talent can now become usable skill? And if you can get good at that with the right player, then you're going to get the development you want.
Coach, when you get the job and you see who LSU had on its roster from a year ago, there were some players that had a lot of success, some All-Americans there, and you come in and you are all about developing the player and you're a new set of eyes, how much do you try to maybe tinker with what they've done or try to help them out as far as, hey, you were really good last year, but I think with A, B, and C you can be even better and reach new heights?
Great question again. I think the key to the roster, again, there are some good players on this roster, and there are some things that they do extremely well that we want to allow them to do and to be themselves. With that being said, we have a blueprint of going from A to B to C and not skipping a letter until we get to Z. Yep. And we're going to put that in place from day one. I mean, we will be in the weight room the first day of school, the first day we are allowed to do that. So with all of that being said, I'm really excited to dive into that with the talent that the players have, put our development system in place, learn them to really understand what they do well, and combine all those things to get the player and the team playing as good as it possibly can.
Coach, I want to pick your brain on roster management because it's all tied in. You got the transfer portal deadline coming up. You're trying to learn this team while maybe looking elsewhere. You got recruiting, everything else. In football now, they have basically created almost an NFL structure where they have a team where, like, this is all they do is roster management, the transfer, all that kind of stuff. How do you approach the process of managing those numbers in this age where it can be as shifting as it's ever been?
Yeah. Great question. I think this is a new time relative to the transfer portal and how people are going to go about recruiting. I think it's actually going to slow down the process of college baseball recruiting. As recruiters, we've gotten way out in front of committing young players, only freshmen and sophomores in high school. Now with the transfer portal available to you, you have to be careful with that because you want to leave yourself the flexibility at the end of a year to be able to add an impact player, especially a place like LSU. And so there's probably a learning curve for a lot of programs right now, an adjustment period for a lot of programs right now. So how I look at it is, what does the team need? The team needs to be well-balanced, having really good starting pitching, guys you can go to the bullpen. You need to have balance in your order of left-handed, right-handed, speed, power, solid hitting skills. And then if you get all of that and then you put the right development plan in place, then the team can play as good as it possibly can. So that goes right back to the roster management piece. And I've spent 90% of my time since I've been here trying to evaluate what we have, where we need to go. And we're still working our way through it. And we're going to be working our way through it until we get to the first day of school and really to the first game. And I'm excited for that challenge, and I'm looking forward to working to put the right pieces in place.
All right, Coach, a lot of people, whenever your name was coming up with a job, they said, hey, he's been on the West Coast for his entire career. That's where he's been. That's what he loves, and I'm sure you do. I mean, I told you yesterday I had a chance to meet you when we were both out in San Diego, but when those three letters, LSU, call in college baseball, I've got to assume, because I heard you talk about the challenge, accepting the challenge, I've got to assume for you that was a magical moment considering what LSU's done in its history, and you couldn't pass up that opportunity.
Yes, and like I said yesterday, it comes along once in a lifetime. I was fine where I was at, not looking to go anywhere, and this opportunity came up, and frankly, you just don't pass it up. And I'm excited to dive in. I'm in the office right now. I left at midnight last night and couldn't wait to get here. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited about this program. I'm excited about its history. I'm excited about its tradition. I'm excited about the fans. I'm excited about the players, the community, the state of Louisiana, the high school baseball coaches in Louisiana, like all of the pieces that are in place with our process to build a quality program, a program that everybody's proud of. My engine's revved up, charged, and ready to go.
All right, Coach, now you've got to be careful. The food will jump on your back. It's really good, sure. And sometimes it just sneaks up on you, and you look down, and the scale's got like 5 extra pounds. I'm just warning you right now, but it's really, really good.
Well, I've heard that, and I'm 5'7", so I really have to pay attention to that. So,
same, Coach. Same.
I think I'm going to get off the phone and maybe do some burpees in my office here because of your guys' warning.
Coach, is this accurate? I got the feeling that you weren't just playing to the crowd. It almost felt like, and I guess your last interview speaks this a bit, but it almost felt like even from afar that you were almost like an LSU baseball nerd in some ways.
Yes, I think that's a fair assessment. And when you grow up, and I'm trying to think how old I was in 1991, I was 13 or 14, and I had a pretty good picture I was not going to be a major league player, but you felt like you could touch the College World Series. And so when you go through all of those years, all of those championships, continually seeing LSU at the place you want to be, I've always been intrigued by it. And then as a young coach, paying attention to Coach Bertman, and then as I was starting to move along as a Division I coach, starting to pay attention to Coach Maneri, seeing them on TV a lot, even throughout the season, it's just a place that draws your attention and draws your interest. And I feel the same, that will be the same with recruits. And we want to take advantage of all those things that led me to here to lead the right players to here. And I'm excited to get into those recruiting battles, recruiting wars, and sell LSU and show the vision of what this place can be for some of the best players in the country, academically, athletically, college town, state of Louisiana. I mean, so many things are in place to put the right system and go for it. And that's what we're going to do every second of every day.
All right, Coach, so I know you have like 72 things going on. Your head's probably spinning a little bit trying to figure out which one to do in which order. But where do you kind of put rounding out your staff in that order? Is there a timeline as far as, hey, I want to make sure it's done by here, or I want to make sure I get the right people, and if it takes a little time, that's okay?
Yeah, probably the latter. I'm starting to dive into that more starting today, and I'm excited to do that. I'm not going to be in a hurry. I'm going to talk to a lot of people because our players and our program deserve to have the right people working with them on a daily basis. LSU deserves to have the right people representing them, and it's got a chance to be a good, diverse staff, relative to strengths in terms of on the field, in terms of recruiting, in terms of geography, and all of those kinds of things. So I'm excited to put it together. I think I have some strong ideas. I think the administration has been very supportive in everything that we've done, and I think we'll end up with the right people here.
Talking to LSU head baseball coach Jay Johnson. Coach, how about this? Tonight, College World Series, Game 3, final, all SEC final. It looks like the stars are aligning for a great game. How do you feel about entering what is the premier college baseball conference in the SEC?
I couldn't be more excited. And over time, played against SEC teams, seen the quality of SEC teams, had some success against SEC teams. You know, our 2 super regional victories were over Mississippi State and Ole Miss. And in both those environments, seeing the quality of player, the quality of coaching, the quality of teams, that's exactly where you want to be if you're in my shoes. And you want to be in those shoes at LSU, at a place where you can get it rolling and be in a position to be successful in those types of series on a continual basis. And I'm putting my focus into doing the work to help us get there. So, to be honest with you, I probably won't watch much of the game tonight. I got too much to do.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely get that feeling from afar, Coach. Okay, last one here, wrapping up. You had a cryptic kind of reference in your presser the other day about a player who was thinking about returning. I don't care about the player's name, but when it comes to maybe trying to get a guy to forego the professional career, not because you just want him on the team, but in order to help him, right? Like, what is your pitch to get players like that back for another year?
Well, the first one is LSU, and these guys know it better than I do at this point in time. You know, they've played in the box when it's rocking and we're in a close game on a Friday night, and they know what that means. And the players that I've talked to have a lot of pride in this place. So you start there. You know, that's a heartbeat thing. That's a feeling thing. And then you move to what's best for them, you know, whether it's finishing off their degree and the value that creates for them. But all these guys want to play professional baseball. So they're going to play professional baseball. The key becomes getting them ready before they do that. And I think if they look at the next 11 months, what we're going to do with them over the next 11 months, it gives them a chance to be more prepared to be successful once they get there. So that's probably the biggest point, and trying to make sure we communicate that every day we're going to try to help them be in a better position once they go there to be successful and give them a chance to really extend their baseball career to potentially be a major leaguer as opposed to just a player that was drafted.
LSU head baseball coach Jay Johnson, thank you so much for waking up with us this morning. I know you got a ton going on right now, a lot of work to do, so we'll let you get back to it, Coach. Thank you again.
Thank you, guys. Look forward to being on with you again.